And this is good stuff because you don't see many videos online with this specifics, right? And guys, by the way, if you want to know if your website is fast, go to the Disney World website, and you will see if your website, if your internet is fast, because this has a lot of things. So for this website to load, it has to load a lot of stuff, right? So this is the test that people from Comcast and all the places that they want to check if your internet is fast. They just go to the Disney World website, and then you will see, right? So right now, we want to go to Route 53 and link our domain with our stack in this guy here, right? With elastic load balancing and all that, and Route 53. So we're going to create a hosted zone, right? And I purchased a domain, like you know, guys, right? My domain is a domain that I registered with AWS, right? So the first thing that you do with the hosted zone is, a hosted zone is a container, right? That holds information like you want to route your traffic for a domain such as example.com and its subdomains, right? So it's going to be a public hosted zone because it will determine how the traffic is routed on the internet. This one is within your VPC. We don't want a private hosted zone. So I'm going to go ahead and create a hosted zone. So now that I have created a hosted zone, I'm provided with 4 name servers here, right? Right now, my domain, I have a domain here, registered domain that I purchased from AWS. It also contains name servers. But if the domain doesn't have the name servers that the hosted zone has, where's the hosted zone? Okay, hosted zone. The hosted zone has, it would not work. So I have to go ahead and edit the domain servers or the name servers of the domain to match the name servers of the hosted zone. So I have to copy the hosted zone name servers and paste them here one by one, okay? So I can go ahead and copy this guy here. Right. 2, number 3, and number 4, right? Now my domain is ready to work with my hosted zone. Perfect. Now what I have to do is go back to the hosted zone and create a record, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and create a record. It's gonna be simple routing, right? And once I have that, I define a simple record and I have an alias here. So one of the points, one of the record type is going to be an alias, right? And the endpoint is going to be a classy load balancer. So right now, I don't have a classy load balancer in my stack. I never create that, so I can take a look at the stack. And here, in the layer, I have a layer here, and in the section says network, I can go ahead and create an elastic load balancer to balance the load to my instances. So I click here, and right now I'm going to create a classy load balancer. Okay. So this guy, I'm going to say, right, my classic load balancer, right? It's going to use the default VPCs, not going to be an internal elastic load balancer. So I'm going to go ahead and continue and create. You see how many security groups OpsWorks created? Look at this. This is crazy, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and choose the ELB security group. Okay. Right now I continue, and then this is fine. This is going to be the health check. Perfect. And we're going to have add an EC2 instance. Well, we don't have that. We don't have to add that. So we add the tags, review, and create, right? So right now I have my elastic load balancer. Perfect. Go back here, and then we can refresh the page, right? And then we will be able to see my classic load balancer there. Perfect. So make sure that your elastic load balancer has connection training enabled in EC2 instance console. After you attach a DB to a layer, OpsWorks remove any currently registered instances and then manages the load balancer for you. If you subsequently use the balancer, the console and API to modify the configuration, the changes would not permit. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. And say here, so wait for an instance connection to drain from a load balancer before shutting it down. Shut down instance without waiting for connections to drain. I want to do this, right? Perfect. Okay, so right now we have an elastic load balancer, right? And right here, first the page, let me see what I have here. Instances. I have the one that was created by, you see, it immediately registers this guy, right? So if I take a look at the description, let's see what we have here, right? Let me see if I have, oh, you see, this is my elastic load balancer working, right? So now I have an elastic load balancer. What I have to do here is in the hostess zone, the alias record that I'm creating, I'm going to choose the region, right? The region is US East 1, right? The balancer is the dual stack classic load balancer. Is that the one that I created? I call it my classic load balancer. Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this guy, right? And define a simple record, create a record, and that's it. So this is my record right now. So if I go ahead and type Autonomous class, okay, this is supposed to work. It's supposed to work. Let us see what's going on here. Okay, where's the record? Okay, so Autonomous class dual, is this the name of the, okay. Okay, this is not like this, it's like this. Okay, perfect. Remember that if we add www, then we have a problem, right? So what I have to do is add another record, right? And then the record is going to be with www here, right? And that's going to be a classic load balancer as well, right? And then we're going to choose the region as well. Perfect. And then we're going to choose the balancer. Perfect. And now I define the record, and I can go ahead and type www.autonomous.class, and I will be able, autonomousclass.com, and I will be able to see the load balancer as well. See, perfect. Okay, so right now I have this guy, right? And the security groups that I have right now, okay, is using these guys here, because if I still use the IP of this from the instance, I still see this, right? So the last load balancer is not the only point of entry. So what I have to do is probably go to this guy here and see these 33 entries. This is crazy. Look at this, 33 entries.
It's the default one, right?
No, these are the,
They created for you.
The ones that it creates for me. So look at this. How many
That's
bound
crazy.
rules? Look at that. Okay. This is absolutely crazy. So what we have to do is probably edit this guy, right? And say, well, I don't want to have this HTTP, right? I want to have one that says, I want all the traffic, maybe custom TCP probably, and maybe all TCP, okay? And then I want to have this from the security group elastic load balancer. So I'm gonna ELB probably, ELB, right? And then have that. So now that that's updated, let me see if I still able to access this through the IP address. I'm still able to do that. So I'm going to change the other security group, right? And this one has a few entries. Look at this. This is crazy, right? This is something that, guys, to be honest, I should have done when I created this security group, right? Because by default, OpsWorks adds security groups and entries that I don't need. For example, memcache. I don't have anything in memcache because it adds everything that you might possibly need for your stack, right? I don't need these guys, right? But I might need this entry here. This is the one that contains the guy here. So I'm gonna go ahead and maybe the 80 port, change it to probably maybe something like all TCP, and then specify here that I want my ELB only, right? So that's gonna be like this, right? So if I still do this, I still get it. It's a lot of security groups, guys. It's hard to find just quickly, right? But my point is that we can still use the classy load balancer, as you can see here, right? And we can have Route 53 work as well here with my custom domain. So for the next time, instead of letting OpsWorks to create this bunch of crazy security groups, right? Why not create the security group yourself, right? And have it the way you want. And then you will have the security groups that you actually need, because I don't need many things that this creates for me. Okay,
You know, 19 security groups.
it's crazy. It's crazy with
Oh.
32 entries. That's crazy. Yes, we
Only
don't need.
one is default. So 18. They created 18 security groups for this crap. I think maybe.
Yeah. So we create our own security group, and that's it. We don't have to go through this pain of setting this the way you want. Okay. Yes. Once you create a security group, what you have to do is basically change the security group, the source of the traffic in your instance, and that's it, right? So guys, this is how you create a hosted zone. You create a record, and then you point your record to your elastic load balancer. And you can have your instances behind the elastic load balancer. And also you can have a custom domain that will point ultimately to the DNS name